Will we see a full Nittany Lions lineup this year, or does Cael have something cooking? Well, let's stop stalling and start talking wrestling. What's going on, wrestling fans? My name is Josiah, and welcome to Big Ten Tuesday, where I take on a topic in the Big Ten and discuss it with you. And this week, will Penn State wrestle their full lineup? I know that may be a dumb question, you may be thinking, but it's actually not. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why they may not wrestle their full lineup this year, as well as 3 reasons why they definitely would. So this kind of comes and spawns from previous happenings with Penn State in the past. We've seen Penn State do crazy things in the wrestling world, and this year is no different with the crazy year that it is. So I thought, it's a very real possibility that Cael doesn't wrestle the full lineup of guys that he has. So let's take a look at these teams. And really, this goes with any team as we get into these will reasons. It goes with any team why teams probably will wrestle their full lineup. And the first reason there is it's a free year of eligibility. I mean, it's essentially a free year for this wrestlers. Now that the NCAA has essentially granted this year as like a blanket red shirt, essentially the COVID red shirt, whatever you want to call it, for everybody, where they get this extra season to compete, and it pretty much doesn't count. Now, unfortunately, we've already seen teams pull out of the NCAA championship, seen teams not competing this season. However, it's a free year for people who do compete. So people can compete without any repercussions, and I think that's one reason why they may just wrestle this free year. They may have guys that could become 5-time NCAA champs, just like other teams. The second reason is learning the competition. So in learning from the competition, obviously that's an easy one. You know, you wrestle new guys, you get to learn from those new guys. There are a couple guys that Penn State already has on their roster that have kind of redshirted already and haven't really seen a lot of college action. So this is one great way where now they're actually going to see real competition. You know, there's a difference between the practice room and actual competition. And obviously, getting guys out on the mat, they're going to be able to see these guys. And so we've seen some of these, you may say, we've seen some of these guys compete, Josiah. We've seen them compete in the Nittany Lions Wrestling Club event. Yes, we have, but those are also freestyle events. And there's a difference between freestyle and folk style. There's just a different focus there for a lot of these guys. And so that's why I think that's another reason why is Cael actually wants these guys to see real competition. And we're going to, it just me as a fan, I'm interested in seeing how guys like Michael Beard, Greg Kirkfleet, Joe Lee, Bo Bartlett, how are these guys going to do and how are they going to fit into the lineup? Also, are we going to see guys like Nick Lee come back and wrestle this year? Are we going to see RBY wrestle this year? It's a real question. What is going to happen? The next thing that I want to bring up is the third reason why they will wrestle their full lineup is that they can retain their NCAA title streak. Now, listen, this is like the bottom of the option. I mean, obviously the streak is fun and it's awesome to see. 8 NCAA titles in 9 years, 4 in a row the past 4 years. Obviously, no NCAA championship awarded last year. Could have went to Iowa. Good chance it was going to go to Iowa, but as far as Penn State's concerned, they are still the reigning NCAA champions. Obviously, they lost their Big Ten streak to Iowa, but there wasn't a crazy streak there for them. But if they wrestle this year and they wrestle their full squad of guys, throw everything out there in the lineup, then there's a good chance they have a shot at an NCAA title. I'm not saying that they're going to win it or anything. I'm not saying that's definitely why they're doing it, but there's a chance that they could win it. And now let's get to the reasons why Cael won't wrestle the full lineup. But before I do that, I have to talk about the Fanco Wrestling Shop. You can check out the Fanco Wrestling gear at the fancowrestling.com/shop. There's a link down in the description below. You may have noticed that I am wearing a Penn State themed Fanco Wrestling shirt. This goes great with a Penn State hat, whatever Penn State gear you have if you are a Nittany Lions fan. There's also lots of other great Fanco Wrestling merch on that store. You can shop. It's affordable prices and very comfortable. You see me, I'm wearing them in every single one of my videos because I think it's great to support Fanco Wrestling and it's great to get some great gear. So now let's get to the reasons why Cael will not be wrestling the full lineup of guys. And there are three reasons, like I said, three reasons I think that he won't wrestle. The first reason is Cael likes guys to heal. He likes to train guys and train, let guys heal and not throw all of his big guns out right away. We've seen that happen many times in the past. And just specifically, like talking about tournaments, okay? As far as tournaments are concerned, and not sending guys to big tournaments, like Penn State hasn't wrestled the scuffle in a couple years. They except sending like a couple guys there, like a Carter Srirachi who goes out and wins it. But even last year, Penn State wrestled no extra tournaments because he just sees that as like, and this is me speaking for Cael, but it's more ways for guys to get injured. And if there are guys getting injured, they're obviously not going to be able to wrestle for the big competition at the end of the year. That's also why Cael has been notoriously kind of against some big dual meets. And a lot of coaches are against the big dual meets at the end of the year, a couple weeks before the Big Ten tournament. Like whenever Penn State and Okie State wrestled, and I think there were maybe 2 weeks before the Big Ten championships, guys were injured. It's happened in the past. It happened to Jason Nolf, Nick Suriano. We've seen that happen too. So like we've seen these unfortunate circumstances happen, and why not have a full year of recovery and training where guys can just train in the room, heal up, do whatever they need to do. And that kind of goes in tandem with the second point here, which is that Cael may be gearing up for something big. He may be gearing up for something big. Because if these guys can all heal, and we could see we could see a great team next year. We could see a great team this year. But in the future, when guys are all healed up, ready to go, that's when they become really dangerous. Cael has done this in the past. He's redshirted guys like David Taylor, Ed Ruth, Quentin Wright. He redshirted those guys back in 2009-2010 season. He also knew that he was gearing up for some exciting guys to come into the lineup, like Nico Megaludis, Matt Brown, the Altons. They were all coming down the pipeline. He was redshirting these guys. And then, boom, in 2011, he won the Big Ten championships and the NCAA championships. And the streak went on from there. You know the story. So, Cael may be gearing up for something big by not wrestling guys this year. And the third reason why he won't wrestle guys is they can compete in RTC events too. And I think that this is a key point to really consider and think about here. Next year, God willing, there will be a 2021 Olympics. There will be a 2020 Olympics. And we have guys training for the Olympics. Cael is with the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, they're gearing up to send a lot of these guys, and a lot of these guys are Olympic hopefuls. A lot of these guys are going to be training in hopes to make an Olympic team. And why not use that time to just take the year off and just train for the Olympics? Essentially use it as an Olympic red shirt or another Olympic red shirt in certain cases, and just take that year off to train freestyle, or Greco-Roman for the guys who are doing that, and make an Olympic team. I think that is a really legitimate option of why Cael may not be wrestling some of these guys, focusing on the trials, focusing on freestyle. And so I think that with all that in tandem, will they wrestle the full lineup? It's tough to say. It's tough to say what Cael will do. What do you think? Will we see a fully loaded Penn State lineup, or are we going to have to wait a year to see a really great squad? Anyways, if you are interested, I recommend that you check out another video down here. And if you want to get this Fanco Wrestling t-shirt, you can click that link right there.